I watched my father's hand close around the champagne bottle, and I thought he was just trying to intimidate me. We were standing in the middle of my brother Tyler's engagement party, surrounded by 70 guests in their finest cocktail attire, and I had just refused to sign the papers that would transfer my $680,000 condo to him. My mother had called me ungrateful. My father had called me selfish. But I never expected him to swing that bottle at my head. I saw it coming, the crystal glinting under the chandelier, and then I felt the explosion of glass against my skull. Blood everywhere. My mother screaming at me, not for me. Everything went black. The sirens pierced through the fog in my brain before I could open my eyes. My head felt like it had been split open, which I suppose it had. I tried to lift my hand to touch the source of the pain, but someone gently pushed my arm back down. "Stay still, ma'am. You've got a pretty serious head injury," a voice said. Male, calm, professional, a paramedic. I forced my eyes open. The inside of an ambulance. Bright lights. The wail of the siren. I was strapped to a gurney, an oxygen mask over my face. A paramedic sat beside me, monitoring equipment I couldn't focus on. "What happened?" he asked, his pen poised over a clipboard. "My father," I managed to say, my voice coming out raspy and weak. "He hit me, with a champagne bottle." The paramedic's eyebrows rose slightly, but he kept his professional demeanor. "At a party? My brother's engagement party. I wouldn't give him my condo, so my dad just..." I couldn't finish. The absurdity of it made my head swim even more. We arrived at the hospital within minutes. Everything became a blur of fluorescent lights and urgent voices. They wheeled me into the emergency room, where a doctor with kind eyes and graying hair examined me. Dr. Patel, his badge read. "You have a skull fracture," he said gently after reviewing my CT scan. "Significant concussion. We're going to need to staple the wound. There may be lasting effects. We'll need to monitor you closely." A police officer appeared at the edge of my vision, young, maybe late 20s, with a notepad. "Miss Martinez, I'm Officer Jackson. Can you tell me what happened tonight?" I told him everything. How my parents had been pressuring me for months to give my condo to Tyler. How they said I owed them because they paid for my college. How tonight, at the party, they brought papers for me to sign, transferring the deed. How I refused. How my mother called me ungrateful. How my father grabbed the champagne bottle from the ice bucket, and how he swung it at my head with full force. Officer Jackson wrote everything down, nodding sympathetically. "That's assault with a deadly weapon. We'll need to speak with your father." Relief flooded through me despite the pain. There would be consequences. Justice. My father couldn't just attack me and walk away. But then a second officer arrived. Older, with a weathered face and skeptical eyes. Officer Morrison. "Jackson, I just talked to the family at the venue," Morrison said, glancing at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. "We've got a different story." My stomach dropped. "The parents say their daughter got heavily intoxicated and became violent," Morrison continued, reading from his own notes. "She attacked the brother's fiancé first. The father grabbed a bottle to defend the fiancé, and the daughter ran into it during the struggle. We've got 6 witnesses who corroborate this version, all upstanding members of the community." "That's not true," I said, trying to sit up. Pain exploded through my skull and I fell back. "That's a complete lie. I had 1 glass of wine. I never touched anyone." He swung the bottle at me. Morrison looked at Dr. Patel. "Is there evidence of intoxication?" Dr. Patel checked my chart. "Her blood alcohol level is 0.03. That's within legal limits. Equivalent to 1 drink. Could be a slow metabolizer," Morrison said dismissively. "Or she sobered up in the ambulance." "I'm telling you the truth," I said, desperation creeping into my voice. "Why would I attack anyone? It's my brother's engagement party." "According to witnesses, you've been jealous of your brother for years," Morrison said. "They say you have a history of emotional instability. Tonight you apparently snapped when you found out he was getting married before you." I stared at him in disbelief. This was insane. My own family was framing me. "The brother, Tyler Martinez, gave a very emotional statement," Morrison added. "He's devastated. Says his sister has always had problems with jealousy and anger. He's worried about her mental health. This is unbelievable," I whispered. Jackson looked between his partner and me, clearly uncertain. "Sir, her injuries are pretty severe for someone who just ran into a bottle." "Momentum," Morrison said. "She was charging at the fiancé. The father was trying to stop her. Bad angle. Unfortunate result. Dr. Patel frowned. The injury pattern suggests a direct strike, not a collision. Are you a forensic expert, doctor? Morrison asked coolly. Dr. Patel pressed his lips together, but said nothing more. Morrison turned to me. Miss Martinez, we're going to continue investigating. But I need to inform you that there may be charges filed against you for assault and disturbing the peace. Don't leave town. After they left, I lay in the hospital bed in complete shock. My head throbbed. The staples in my scalp pulled tight. But worse than the physical pain was the realization of what had just happened. My family had coordinated a story. 6 witnesses, all family friends who had known my parents for decades, had lied to the police. Tyler had played the devastated brother. My mother and father were playing the victims, and I was being treated like the criminal. I needed to call someone. My best friend, Jessica. She would know this was crazy. She knew me. She knew I wasn't violent or jealous or unstable. But my phone wasn't here. My purse wasn't here. Everything had been left at the party venue. I had no way to contact anyone. No ID, no insurance cards, no wallet. A nurse came in to check my vitals. She was professional but cool, clearly having heard the police discussion. Can I use a phone? I asked. I need to call someone. There's a phone in the waiting room, she said curtly. But you need to rest right now. I don't know anyone's number. They're all in my phone. You'll have to figure that out tomorrow, she said, and left. I was completely alone, trapped in a hospital bed, in pain, with a fractured skull, facing possible criminal charges, and no one to call for help. This couldn't be happening. This couldn't be real. But it was. I spent the night in the hospital under observation, drifting in and out of painful sleep. Every time I woke, the reality of the situation crashed over me again. My father had attacked me. My family had lied to the police. I was being framed. The next morning, shift change brought a small miracle. Emma Chen walked past my room, then backed up and stared at me through the door. Emma. We had been friends since 3rd grade, though we had drifted apart over the years. She had become a nurse. I knew she worked at a hospital but didn't know it was this one. She came into the room, her eyes wide. Asia? Oh my God, what happened to you? I started crying. I couldn't help it. Seeing a familiar, friendly face broke something open inside me. Emma listened to the whole story, her expression shifting from shock to horror to anger. That's insane. Your family is insane. I need help, I said. I need to call people. My phone is at the venue. I don't have anyone's numbers memorized except my parents, and obviously I can't call them. Emma squeezed my hand. I believe you. Let me get my phone. You can use it. She returned a few minutes later with her phone and a charger. Take your time. I'm here for another 6 hours if you need anything. I tried Jessica's number first. It rang 4 times and went to voicemail. I left a message explaining what happened, my voice shaking. Then I called my workplace. I was an architect at a firm called Hartwell & Associates, a mid-sized company where I had worked for 8 years. I had projects due. My boss needed to know I wouldn't be in for a few days. The receptionist, Claire, answered. Hartwell & Associates. Hi, Claire. It's Asia. I need to speak with Mr. Calloway, please. It's urgent. There was a pause. Hold, please. The hold music played for nearly 3 minutes. Finally, Mr. Calloway picked up. His voice was cold in a way I had never heard before. Asia, I was expecting your call. Mr. Calloway, I had an accident last night. I'm in the hospital with a skull fracture. I'm going to need a few days off. I received a very disturbing call from your mother this morning, he said, ignoring what I had just told him. My blood went cold. She informed me that you had a severe mental breakdown last night and physically attacked members of your family. She suggested you've been showing signs of instability for some time and that you may require psychiatric intervention. That's not true, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. My father attacked me. I'm the victim here. I have a fractured skull. Your mother was very convincing. She was crying. She said she's been worried about you for months, but didn't want to say anything that might jeopardize your career. She's lying, Mr. Calloway. She's covering up what my father did. Asia, I can't have an employee who is potentially unstable working with clients and handling projects worth millions of dollars. Until you can provide documentation from a mental health professional that you're fit to work, I'm placing you on unpaid leave effective immediately. You can't do that. I haven't done anything wrong. This is for your own good and the good of the firm. Get help, Asia. When you're ready to return, we can discuss it. He hung up. I stared at Emma's phone in disbelief. My mother had already called my workplace. had already planted the seeds of doubt about my mental stability. How many other people had she called? My hands shaking, I pulled up Tyler's number. I needed to confront him. Needed to know why he was doing this. He answered on the second ring. Asia, thank God you're okay. We were so worried. His fake concern made me want to scream. Cut it out, Tyler. Why did you lie to the police? The concern dropped from his voice immediately. You really thought I'd let you keep that condo? I bought it with my own money, my own salary. After Mom and Dad paid for your entire college education. After they supported you for 22 years. You don't think you owe us anything? A college education doesn't entitle you to steal my home. Tyler laughed. Steal? That's dramatic. We're family, Asia. What's yours is ours. What's ours is yours. That's how it works. Where are you right now? Funny you should ask. I'm at your place. Well, my place now. My heart stopped. What? I'm here with a locksmith. Changing the locks. You should see this place, Asia. It's going to be perfect for Madison and me after the wedding. She loves the kitchen. You can't do that. You can't just break into my condo. I'm not breaking in. I have documentation showing you gave me power of attorney when you were deemed mentally unfit. It's all legal. I never signed any power of attorney. That's fraud. Really? Because I have papers that say otherwise. Witnessed and notarized. Must have slipped your mind. You know, because of your condition. You forged them. Prove it. He sounded amused. Oh, and before I forget, you gave me permission months ago to move in if I needed to. I have text messages confirming it. You were very supportive of your little brother. I never sent those texts. Your phone says you did. Technology is amazing, isn't it? I felt sick. He had somehow fabricated text messages from my phone. Mom and Dad have been planning this for a while, Tyler continued, his voice casual. We knew you'd be difficult about it. You've always been selfish, so we had to get creative. The party was the perfect opportunity. Dad didn't mean to hit you that hard, by the way. That was actually an accident, but it worked out pretty well. Now everyone thinks you're unstable and dangerous. Makes everything else so much easier. You're a monster. I'm practical. That condo is worth almost $700,000. Madison and I need a place to live. You're single, no kids, you could rent anywhere. It makes sense. I will fight this. With what money? What lawyer? Face it, Asia. You've already lost. Oh, the locksmith is done. Got to go. Don't bother coming by. I have a restraining order being filed this morning. If you come within 100 feet of this building, you'll be arrested. Bye now. He hung up. I couldn't breathe. Emma had been standing in the doorway listening. She sat down beside me. He can't do that, she said. That's illegal. He just did. 2 hours later, after being discharged with care instructions I could barely process, I took an expensive Uber to my condo building using Emma's credit card. The ride cost $43. I would pay her back somehow. When I arrived, there was a moving truck in the loading zone. Tyler and Madison were directing movers carrying furniture into my building. My furniture, my belongings, were stacked in boxes on the sidewalk. I walked up to Tyler. You need to stop this right now. He pulled a paper from his pocket. Temporary restraining order. Issued 1 hour ago. You're in violation just by being here. This is my home. Not anymore. He gestured to the boxes. I packed up your stuff. Most of it anyway. I'm sure I missed some things. Not my problem. Madison stood behind him, looking uncomfortable but silent. My laptop wasn't in any of the boxes I checked. Where's my computer? What computer? Tyler smiled. My laptop. It has all my work files. Haven't seen it. Maybe you left it somewhere. He had taken it. Destroyed it, probably. All my projects, my client files, my personal documents. Mrs. Patterson, the elderly woman who lived 2 doors down from my condo, came out to her balcony. I had helped her carry groceries countless times, had checked on her during the winter storms. Mrs. Patterson, I called up to her. Can you tell the police what you saw? That he broke in? Mrs. Patterson looked at me with pity. Your brother told me you sold him the condo, dear. Said you got a wonderful new job in Seattle and wanted a fresh start. I'm happy for you. I stared at her. Another lie. Another person who believed Tyler over me. I didn't sell him anything, I said desperately. Mrs. Patterson shook her head sadly. I hope you get the help you need, sweetheart. She went back inside. Tyler turned to me. You should go before I call the police. I'd hate for you to spend the night in jail. I had nowhere to go, no home, no access to my own property. My boxes were sitting on the sidewalk, some of them crushed, some with items spilling out. I managed to carry 3 boxes to the Uber, came back for 2 more. The driver helped me load them, sympathy in his eyes. He drove me to a cheap motel on the edge of town, $60 a night. I put it on my credit card. In the dingy motel room, surrounded by the remnants of my life in cardboard boxes, I finally let myself break down completely. The motel room smelled like old cigarettes and industrial cleaner. The bedspread had faded flowers on it and felt stiff. I sat on the edge of the bed, surrounded by the boxes Tyler had deemed worthy of returning to me, and tried to figure out what to do next. Emma had lent me her laptop. I logged into my bank account with shaking hands, needing to see how much money I had to work with. I had been careful with money my whole life. I had savings. My savings account showed a balance of $127. I stared at the screen. That was impossible. I had $43,000 in that account. I had been saving for years. I checked the transaction history, transfers, dozens of them over the past 8 months. 500 here, 2,000 there, 3,000, 1,000. All transfers to an account I didn't recognize. I checked my checking account. Nearly empty too. Another 6,000 taken over the same time period. Someone had been systematically draining my accounts. I called the bank's fraud department. After being on hold for 20 minutes, I reached a representative named Brenda. "I need to report unauthorized transactions," I said, explaining what I had found. Brenda asked for my account information, then went silent for a long moment. "I see the transfers you're referring to. They were all authorized by a joint account holder." "I don't have a joint account holder. According to our records, Linda Martinez has been listed as a joint holder on this account since 2003, my mother. When I had opened my first checking account at 18, my mother had insisted on being added as a joint holder. Just in case of emergency, she had said. Just so I could access it if anything happened to you, she had said. I had forgotten she was still on the account. I had never thought to remove her. The secondary account receiving the transfers is also in Linda Martinez's name, Brenda continued. Since she's an authorized user on your account, these transfers aren't considered fraudulent. This would be a civil matter between you and the account holder. She stole over $40,000 from me. I understand this is distressing, but legally, she had access to the account. You would need to pursue this through civil court. After I hung up, I dug deeper into my financial records. There was a credit card I didn't recognize. I called that company too. This card was opened in your name 8 months ago, the representative told me. I didn't open any card with you. The application was submitted online with your social security number and date of birth. What's the balance? $28,312. I felt the room spin. What were the charges? The representative read through them. Luxury handbags, jewelry, a ring from Tiffany's, $5,000 at a high-end restaurant for a party deposit. All charges made by my mother. My credit score had tanked. I had debt I didn't even know about. My mother had committed identity theft. I needed legal help. I needed it desperately. I searched online and found a free legal aid clinic that held walk-in hours on Tuesdays. It was Thursday. I would have to wait 5 days. I couldn't wait 5 days. I found another organization that offered free consultations. I made an appointment for that afternoon. The office was small and overcrowded. The paralegal who met with me was named Jamal, a tired-looking man in his 40s with kind eyes. I told him everything. The assault, the stolen condo, the forged documents, the financial theft, the defamation to my employer and friends, all of it. Jamal listened carefully, taking notes. When I finished, he sat back in his chair. "This is a complicated case," he said carefully. "You're dealing with assault charges, property theft, identity theft, and defamation. Each of these requires a different legal approach. Can you help me? I can point you in the right direction. To fight the restraining order and get access back to your condo, you'll need a real estate attorney. That's going to cost around $5,000 for a retainer." I felt my hope deflate. To pursue assault charges, you'll need evidence. Right now, all the witnesses support your parents' version of events. It becomes, she said, very difficult to prosecute. I have medical records showing a skull fracture, which they claim was accidental during a struggle you initiated. You'd need to prove intent, and that's hard without witnesses. What about the financial theft? You'd need to file a police report against your mother for identity theft. But that gets complicated because of the assault case. If you're accusing your parents of multiple crimes simultaneously, it can look like retaliation or vindictiveness to a judge. So what do I do? Jamal leaned forward. Document everything, every interaction, Every transaction, every conversation. Get a lawyer as soon as you can afford one. There are some pro bono attorneys who take cases like this, but they're overwhelmed. The waiting list is months long, and I need to be honest with you. Family cases like this are messy. Courts are reluctant to intervene in family disputes. Even when there's clear wrongdoing, it can take years to resolve. Years. I didn't have years. I didn't have months. I barely had days. I left the legal aid office feeling more hopeless than when I had arrived. Back at the motel, I finally retrieved my phone from the party venue. The manager there had been holding it, but when I turned it on, it had been remotely wiped. Someone had accessed my Apple ID and erased everything. All my photos, all my contacts, all my text messages, all my backup data, gone. Tyler had my Apple ID password. I had shared it with him years ago when we were still close, when he needed to download something on my phone. I had never changed it. I logged into my email on Emma's laptop and found dozens of messages. Jessica had written, "Asia, your mom called me crying this morning. She told me what happened at the party. She said you've been having delusions and paranoid thoughts. She said you attacked your dad, and he was just trying to protect Tyler's fiancé. Please get help. I can't be around this kind of energy right now. I hope you find peace." Another friend, Sarah, had written something similar. So had my cousin Rachel. My mother had systematically called everyone in my life and told them I was mentally unstable and dangerous. My entire support system had been poisoned against me. I had no money, no home, no job, no friends who believed me, no family except the ones who were destroying me. I had nothing. 3 days passed in the motel room. 3 days of trying to figure out a solution that didn't exist. 3 days of headaches so severe I could barely stand. 3 days of complete isolation. On the 4th day, there was a knock at the door. I opened it to find 2 police officers and a woman in business casual attire holding a clipboard. "Asia Martinez?" one of the officers asked. "Yes. We have a petition for involuntary psychiatric evaluation. You need to come with us." The world tilted. "What?" The woman stepped forward. "I'm Carla Stevens, a mental health crisis counselor. Your parents filed a petition stating that you're a danger to yourself and others. A judge signed an emergency order for a 72-hour evaluation hold. I'm not dangerous. My parents are lying. That's what we're going to evaluate," Carla said gently. "But right now, we need you to come with us voluntarily, or the officers will have to compel you." I looked at the police officers. Their hands rested near their belts. I had no choice. They took me to a psychiatric facility 20 minutes away. It was clean but institutional, with locked doors and security cameras everywhere. They took my belongings, gave me hospital scrubs, and led me to a small room with a bed, a chair, and a window with bars. A psychiatrist came to see me 2 hours later, Dr. Reynolds. He was in his 50s, with gray hair and wire-rimmed glasses. He sat down with a file folder and looked at me with professional curiosity. "Tell me what happened, Asia." I told him everything, but as I heard myself talking, I realized how it sounded. My family is conspiring against me. They stole my home. They're framing me. They've turned everyone against me. They're trying to have me declared mentally unfit so they can control my life. It sounded exactly like paranoid delusions. Dr. Reynolds took notes without expression. "Your parents provided evidence of concerning behavior. They gave us journal entries from when you were a teenager discussing depression and self-harm. I was 15. I was going through a hard time. That was 17 years ago. Your brother provided a statement saying you threatened to burn down the condo with him inside it. That's a complete fabrication. I never said that. Your mother says you've been exhibiting signs of paranoia for months, accusing her of stealing from you, claiming your father was trying to manipulate you, because those things are true." Dr. Reynolds looked at me carefully. "Do you hear voices? No. Do you believe people are following you or watching you? My family is actively working against me. That's not a belief. That's a fact. Do you have thoughts of harming yourself or others?" "No." He asked more questions. Standard psychiatric evaluation questions. I answered them as calmly as I could, but the panic was rising in my chest. If they declared me mentally unfit, my parents could get guardianship. They could control all my assets. They could make all my medical decisions. They could institutionalize me indefinitely. I would lose everything, including my freedom. After Dr. Reynolds left, I sat in the room, trying to breathe, trying not to panic. Another patient approached me in the common area that evening. Her name was Daniela. She was in her mid-40s, with tired eyes and a knowing expression. "First time?" she asked. "Yes. Let me give you some advice. Stop protesting. Stop trying to convince them of the truth. The more you insist everyone is against you, the crazier you sound. But they are against me. I know. I've been there. My ex-husband did something similar. Got me committed so he could clean out our bank accounts. But the thing is, the system doesn't believe you when you sound desperate. Stay calm. Answer their questions carefully. Show you're rational. Don't give them any reason to keep you here." I took her advice. When Dr. Reynolds came back the next day, I was composed. I answered his questions without emotion, without desperation. I asked him to verify the condo ownership, pointed out that public records would show it was titled to me alone. I asked him to review my medical records from the hospital, suggested the injuries were consistent with being struck, not with running into something. Dr. Reynolds said he would look into it. That afternoon, he returned with a different expression. He sat down and reviewed his notes. I checked the property records. The condo at 872 Riverside Drive is titled to Asia Martinez. That's you. Yes. I also reviewed your medical file from the emergency room. The attending physician noted that your injuries were consistent with blunt force trauma. Direct strike, not a collision. Yes. I've spoken with you extensively over the past 2 days. You show no signs of psychosis, paranoia, or delusional thinking. Your affect is appropriate. Your thought process is logical. I don't see any evidence of mental illness. Relief flooded through me. However, he continued, I'm concerned about the situation you're describing. If what you're saying is true, you're dealing with severe family abuse and criminal activity. That's not a psychiatric issue. That's a legal one. Can I leave? After 48 hours, I'm releasing you. I find no medical reason to hold you, but I need to warn you, your family can refile this petition at any time. Be very careful. Document everything. And get a lawyer. They released me that evening. Emma picked me up. She had been calling the facility every day to check on me. I was so scared, she said as we drove away. I thought they'd keep you. So did I. Back at the motel, there was a certified letter waiting for me. I opened it with shaking hands. It was from my parents' attorney. They were suing me for emotional distress and defamation. They claimed my false accusations of assault had damaged their reputation in the community. They were seeking $200,000 in damages. I sat down on the bed, the letter trembling in my hands. They were burying me. Legal attacks from every direction. I had no money for a lawyer, no home, no job, no way to fight back. I was drowning, and no one was coming to save me. The next blow came 2 days later, delivered by certified mail to the motel. The return address was from my employer's legal department. I opened it already, knowing it would be bad. Dear Miss Martinez, this letter is to inform you that Hartwell and Associates has been made aware of a criminal investigation concerning your conduct. An anonymous report was filed with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, alleging that you embezzled funds from client accounts. Enclosed documentation suggests deposits to your personal account, matching missing client payments. We have been compelled to cooperate with the investigation. Your employment has been terminated effective immediately. You are required to return all company property within 48 hours. Any questions should be directed to our legal counsel. The words swam in front of my eyes. Embezzlement, FBI, criminal investigation. My mother had done this. She had to have. She had access to my bank account. She had been making deposits and transfers. She had set this up to frame me. I called the bank again and requested complete records going back 2 years. They agreed to mail them, but it would take 7 to 10 business days. I couldn't wait that long. Using Emma's laptop, I accessed my online banking and started going through every transaction manually. It took hours, but I found the pattern. Starting 10 months ago, there were deposits to my account that I hadn't made. $3,000, $5,000, $7,000, all deposited in cash at branches I had never visited. Then, within days of each deposit, there were transfers out to that secondary account in my mother's name. She had been laundering money through my account, making it look like I was receiving payments that I then moved to a hidden account. If the money was actually from client accounts at my firm, it would appear that I had stolen it. It was sophisticated, methodical, designed to destroy me, but proving it would require forensic accounting, expert witnesses, legal representation I couldn't afford. I was going to be charged with federal crimes I didn't commit. My phone rang. Tyler's number. I almost didn't answer. but I needed to know what else was coming. Hello. Just wanted to give you a heads up, Tyler said cheerfully. I've got a buyer for the condo. They offered $695,000. We're going into escrow tomorrow. You can't sell my property. I have power of attorney. I absolutely can. The sale should finalize in about 3 weeks. I'll make sure to send you a thank you card. I'll stop it. I'll file an injunction. With what lawyer? With what money? Face it, Asia. You've already lost. He hung up. I searched online for emergency legal help. I found a form for filing a motion myself, without a lawyer. It was complicated, full of legal language I barely understood. But I filled it out as best I could, explaining that the power of attorney was forged, that the sale was fraudulent, that the property was mine. I filed it at the courthouse the next day. The clerk looked over my paperwork with a skeptical expression. You really should have a lawyer for this, she said. I can't afford one. The judge might not even look at this without proper representation. But she filed it anyway. I got a court date. 3 weeks out. The same week the sale was supposed to finalize. I left the courthouse and walked back to the motel, my head pounding. The headaches had been getting worse. Dizziness, too. I had ignored them, thinking they were just stress. But today I could barely walk straight. I made it back to the motel and collapsed on the bed. The room spun. I tried to stand up and fell. Everything went dark. When I woke up, I was in an emergency room. Again, Emma was there. You called me, she said. You were barely coherent. I called an ambulance. Dr. Patel appeared. He looked concerned. You have a subdural hematoma. Bleeding between your brain and skull. It's gotten worse since your initial injury. You need surgery to relieve the pressure. How much does that cost? Dr. Patel hesitated. Without insurance, probably $60,000 to $80,000. I laughed. It came out bitter and broken. I have $127 in my bank account. We can work out a payment plan. I'm about to be charged with federal crimes. I'll be lucky if I'm not in prison. Dr. Patel looked at Emma, then back at me. Miss Martinez, without this surgery, the bleeding could cause permanent brain damage or death. Then I guess I die. Asia, don't say that, Emma said. But what was the point? My family had taken everything. My home, my money, my career, my reputation. They were going to take my freedom too. I had nothing left to fight with. Dr. Patel explained the risks of refusing treatment. I signed the waiver against medical advice. They discharged me with instructions to return immediately if symptoms worsened. Back in the motel room, I sat on the edge of the bed in the dark. My head felt like it was splitting apart. Every heartbeat sent pain through my skull. I thought about my grandmother, Rose. She had died 3 years ago and left me $50,000. She had specifically excluded my mother from her will. At the time, I hadn't understood why. Now I did. Grandma Rose had known what my mother was like. She had known I would need that money to be independent. That's why she left it to me. That's why I had been able to buy the condo. And now my family had taken that too. They had stolen the gift my grandmother had worked her whole life to give me. Something hardened inside me. A small, stubborn spark of anger. Grandma Rose wouldn't want me to give up. She would want me to fight. I didn't know how yet, but I wasn't going to let them win. The next morning, despite the pain in my head, I made a decision. I needed evidence. I needed someone to tell the truth. I thought about everyone who had been at that party. Most of them were my parents' friends, people who had known them for decades. They would never turn on them. But there was one person who might. Madison. Tyler's fiancée. She hadn't participated in the lies at the party. She had just stood there, looking shocked. And in the brief moments I had seen her since, she had seemed uncomfortable. Guilty, even. I found her on Instagram. Her profile was public. I sent her a direct message. Madison, this is Asia. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need to talk to you. Just 5 minutes. Please. It's important. I didn't expect a response. But 30 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Coffee shop on 5th Street. 2 o'clock. Come alone. I borrowed $20 from Emma and took the bus downtown. The coffee shop was busy, filled with college students and remote workers. Madison was already there, sitting in a corner booth, wearing sunglasses inside. She took them off when I sat down. Her eyes were red. You look terrible, she said. Skull fracture and a brain bleed. Courtesy of my father. Madison flinched. I'm sorry. Were you there? Did you see what actually happened? She nodded slowly. I saw everything. Then why didn't you tell the police the truth? I was scared. Tyler is very, she trailed off, choosing her words carefully, controlling. And your parents were very convincing. They told me you had mental problems, that you had attacked Tyler before. I didn't know what to believe. And now? Madison pulled out her phone. Tyler has been bragging about the whole thing. He thinks it's brilliant. He doesn't know I've been recording him. She pulled up a voice memo and pressed play. Tyler's voice came through the speaker. The best part is she actually thinks she can fight this. She has no idea how thoroughly we've destroyed her credibility. By the time we're done, she won't be able to get a job at McDonald's. Madison's voice. Don't you feel bad at all? She's your sister. Tyler. She's had everything handed to her. Good job, nice condo. Everyone always liked her better. Well, not anymore. Now I have the condo and she has nothing. That's fair. Madison. But your dad really hurt her. Tyler. That was an accident. He just meant to scare her. But honestly, it worked out. Made her look even crazier when she tried to tell people he attacked her. Madison paused the recording. There are more. Him admitting to forging the power of attorney documents. Your mom explaining how she's been taking money from your account. All of it. I stared at her. Why are you giving me this? Because I can't marry someone like him. I thought I knew Tyler, but the person he's been these past few days is someone I don't recognize. He's cruel. He enjoys hurting you. And I keep thinking, if he can do this to his own sister, what would he do to me? Tears welled up in her eyes. I'm leaving him, but I thought you should have this first, so you can fight back. She sent me the files. 6 audio recordings. Each one more damning than the last. Thank you, I whispered. I'm sorry I didn't speak up sooner. After Madison left, I sat in the coffee shop and listened to all the recordings. Tyler admitting everything. Laughing about how they had framed me. Discussing how much money they'd make from selling my condo. This was the evidence I needed. I remembered Mrs. Patterson, my neighbor. She had a doorbell camera. If I could get that footage from the day Tyler changed the locks, it might show him breaking in without permission. I went back to my building. Mrs. Patterson was in her apartment. I knocked. She opened the door cautiously. Asia, you shouldn't be here. Your brother said, Mrs. Patterson, please. I need your help. Do you still have the footage from your doorbell camera, from the day Tyler moved in? I suppose so. It keeps recordings for 30 days. Can I see it, please? She hesitated, then invited me in. We pulled up the footage on her laptop. There it was. Clear video of Tyler forcing open my condo door. The locksmith asking if he had permission. Tyler saying, My sister doesn't know yet, but she'll be fine with it. He broke in, Mrs. Patterson said softly. He lied to me. He lied to everyone. I can save this for you. I can testify. Hope surged through me for the first time in weeks. With the recordings and the video footage, I contacted a legal organization I had found online. They specialized in helping abuse victims. An attorney named Samantha Burke agreed to review my case. I met her in her office the next day. She was in her 40s, with sharp eyes and an even sharper manner. I played her the recordings and showed her the doorbell footage. Samantha listened to everything, taking notes. When I finished, she sat back. This is exactly the kind of case I take. Your family has committed multiple crimes. Assault, fraud, identity theft, conspiracy. And now we can prove it. Can you help me? Yes. Pro bono. Because what they did to you is unconscionable. Samantha moved fast. Within 2 days, she had filed multiple legal motions. An emergency injunction to stop the condo sale. A motion to dissolve the restraining order. Criminal complaints against all 3 of them. A motion to dismiss my parents' frivolous lawsuit. We had an emergency hearing 3 days later. Judge Hartman, a stern woman in her 60s, reviewed all the evidence. She listened to the recordings in chambers, watched the doorbell footage. When we returned to the courtroom, her expression was ice. The sale is halted immediately. The restraining order is dissolved. Mr. Tyler Martinez, you are ordered to vacate the premises within 24 hours. Miss Asia Martinez, you have full access restored to your property. Tyler stood up, his face red. You can't do that. I have power of attorney. A forged power of attorney, Judge Hartman said coldly, which is fraud. I'm referring this case to the District Attorney's Office for Criminal Prosecution. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Martinez from my courtroom. I could barely breathe. It was happening. I was getting my home back. But Tyler wasn't done. That night, before the 24 hours was up, he went back to the condo. Mrs. Patterson's doorbell camera caught it all. He smashed every appliance. spray-painted obscenities on the walls, broke every window, destroyed the hardwood floors, caused roughly $40,000 in damage. The video was clear. The police arrested him the next morning. His bail was set at $25,000. My parents couldn't pay it. Tyler spent the night in jail, and I went home. The condo was destroyed, but it was mine. I walked through the wreckage of what Tyler had done and felt only determination. I could fix this. I could rebuild. Samantha worked relentlessly over the next 2 months. The district attorney's office reviewed all the evidence we had compiled. The recordings, the doorbell footage, the medical records, the financial documents showing the theft. They brought charges against all 3 of them. My father, Robert, was charged with assault with a deadly weapon. The medical evidence, combined with Madison's testimony about what she had witnessed, was overwhelming. He took a plea deal. 3 years in prison with possibility of parole after 18 months. My mother, Linda, was charged with identity theft, wire fraud, and conspiracy. The forensic accountants proved she had systematically stolen from me and used my accounts to launder money. She was convicted. 4 years in federal prison. Tyler got the worst of it. Assault, fraud, forgery, breaking and entering, vandalism, and criminal conspiracy. The recordings of him bragging about the scheme destroyed any chance of sympathy. He was sentenced to 18 months in county jail plus 5 years of probation. But the criminal cases were only part of it. Samantha helped me file a civil lawsuit against my parents. We sued for every dollar they had stolen, plus punitive damages, plus pain and suffering. The jury awarded me $380,000. My parents had to sell their house to pay the judgment. The house they had lived in for 30 years. The house where I grew up, gone. They lost everything they had tried to take from me, and more. Tyler had to pay restitution for the damage to my condo. $40,000 plus penalties. He lost his job in pharmaceutical sales once he had a felony conviction. Everything he had built, destroyed. Madison testified at his trial. She had broken off the engagement the day after giving me the recordings. She sent me a card later saying she had started therapy and was grateful she had gotten out before it was too late. The embezzlement investigation cleared my name completely. The forensic accountants proved that my mother had orchestrated the entire scheme. My employer, Hartwell and Associates, sent a formal apology and offered me my job back with back pay and a promotion to senior architect. I turned them down. Instead, I used some of the settlement money to start my own firm. Small, just me and 2 junior architects I hired fresh out of school. I specialized in affordable housing, designing homes for families who needed a place to rebuild their lives. I named it Rose Design Group, after my grandmother, the woman who had seen my mother's true nature and tried to protect me. I renovated the condo myself, working with contractors I trusted. It took 4 months, but when it was done, it was beautiful. Better than before. Modern and bright, and completely mine. Jessica called me 6 months after the trial. She had seen the news coverage, read about what had really happened. She apologized for not believing me. I accepted her apology, but told her I needed time. Some friendships could be repaired. Others, I realized, I didn't need. Emma remained my closest friend. The one who had been there from the beginning. The one who had believed me when no one else did. I made her the godmother to my future children, whenever I decided to have them. Dr. Patel performed the surgery I needed once I had insurance again. The operation was successful. The headaches faded. My skull healed. I had a scar hidden under my hair, but it reminded me of what I had survived. 1 year, after that terrible night at the engagement party, I hosted a small dinner at my renovated condo. Emma was there, and Samantha, and Mrs. Patterson, and Madison, who had become an unexpected friend through all of this. We sat around my new dining table, eating food I had cooked, drinking wine from glasses that weren't weapons. "I want to propose a toast," I said, standing up. Everyone raised their glasses. "To the family we choose. To the people who show up when everything falls apart. To the women who refuse to be broken." "Hear, hear," Samantha said. We clinked glasses. I looked around at these faces, these people who had saved me in different ways. This was my real family. Not the people who shared my blood, the people who shared my values. I thought about my grandmother Rose. I wished she could see this. See that her gift had given me more than just a condo. It had given me a foundation to rebuild my entire life. I had learned that blood doesn't make you family. Loyalty does. Honesty does. Love does. I had learned that sometimes you have to lose everything to discover what really matters. I had learned that you're stronger than you think, braver than you believe, and capable of surviving things you never thought possible. My parents had tried to destroy me. Tyler had tried to break me. They had taken my home, my money, my reputation, my sense of safety. But they couldn't take who I was at my core. They couldn't take my determination or my integrity or my capacity to rebuild. And in the end, they lost far more than a condo. They lost their freedom, their home, their reputation, and their daughter. I lost a family I never really had. But I gained something infinitely more valuable. I gained myself. I look at you now, and I want to know something. Have you ever had to cut ties with family members who were toxic? How did you find the strength to walk away and rebuild? Share your story in the comments. And if this story resonated with you, if it reminded you that you're stronger than you think, please hit that like button. Subscribe to hear more stories about survival and resilience. And share this with someone who needs to hear that it's possible to rebuild after betrayal. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that no matter how dark things get, you have the power to fight back and create the life you deserve. Take care of yourselves, and remember, you are never as alone as you feel.